The fact is, in normal times, with this kind of volatility in markets following what seemed to be a one-way market up until the third week of January, the last 2 weeks should have seen a lot more action in gold and people looking for some sort of cover, shouldn't it? I mean, in traditional times?
My own suspicion is in the near term, gold markets move on the narrative. But if you look back over 40 years, it seems to me that they really trade, the gold market trades inversely to the US dollar, strength in the US dollar, and strength in the US dollar expressed by the US 10-year Treasury. So I think if you look longer term, if the Treasury is perceived to be a poor source of value, then the default quality trade is gold. My own suspicion, obviously from a gold-oriented manager, is that with the US 10-year Treasury at what I think is the end of a 35-year bull market, if you believe that gold trades inversely to the Treasury, then gold in the intermediate and long term does very well. I can't speak to 2 weeks, but I can speak to 2 years.
So the traditional correlations are there. Of course, the conversations we've had is about just the distortion that's happened in the markets as a result of central bank policy.
Yes.
Is gold still the safe haven that it has traditionally been?
I think the may be a strong statement. I think it's a safe haven. I think what we've seen is a whole proliferation of financial instruments which fulfill many roles. I do think that gold is simultaneously a store of value and a medium of exchange. And I also think that there are certain societies, East Asian societies, South Asian societies, that are developing larger savings and greater disposable incomes, for whom gold has formed a traditional sort of store of value. And I think that augurs well.
Rachel, say hi to Oriel. She used to mine gold in her backyard, actually, when she was young.
Well, that's not completely true. Don't believe everything you hear, Rick. Great to have you with us. I'm looking at your forecast you know, if gold is in fact used as a safe haven over this very uncertain time, if indeed we do get a trade war and more money goes into this safe haven, is 1400 really where we're going to get to? Because it seems to me as if this gets as bad as some say it's going to, it could go a lot higher than 1400.
If you give a good salesman like me the use of the word could, I can convince you of anything. The truth is that I think that $1,400 is a reasonable level. People tend, I think, to buy gold many times for the wrong reason. I buy it for insurance. Other people buy it for speculative purposes. A trade war makes everybody poorer, first of all, and certainly I think a trade war, a full-on trade war, would diminish the U.S. economy and hence diminish the expectation of a strong U.S. dollar, and that would be very good for gold. It's an odd circumstance because every circumstance that I can think of that would make the gold price go appreciably higher would make the rest of our life much worse. So I'm ironically in a sort of a gold-centric business, and I hope that the gold price doesn't go up much.